I'm here with a tape measure and a whole lot of hope. This is the guy cutting the MDF board for me. It's not ideal, just felt a droplet of sweat drip down my back. This looks like a scary contraption, very similar to icing a cake. Is this paneling actually worth it? This is the final result. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. You join me this week with a renovation style vlog. So I'm not going to ramble, I'm going to get straight to it. The plan for this week, me and Sunny are on a mission. She's behind me here with her little bunny. Josh and I have wanted to panel this wall behind our bed in our bedroom for ages. Like literally, we had this planned since way before we moved in. We've just never got round to it. It's never been a priority. I feel like it's so much easier to renovate a house when you're not living in it. Once you're living in it and you get into a day-to-day routine, it's so hard to carve out the time to do renovation work. But this week, that's exactly what I've done. I've got a little bit of a quieter work week this week, so I thought, let's do it. The next few days, we're going to transform this bedroom together. When you walk in, this is what our bedroom looks like. I mean, it's absolutely fine. I just feel like it looks unfinished. It needs more. It's always needed more, but we always knew that this was the plan. So the colour on these walls is called Sail White. I can't remember what the brand is. It's not Dulux, it's another one. I'll leave it on screen here. It's the same colour that we've got in the kitchen downstairs. It's a lovely off-white shade. It looks quite grey in the viewfinder, but it's actually not. It's actually more of it's kind of a warm tone. Saying that, it's not warm, it's not cool. It is literally in the middle in this room. But when we were decorating the house, the thing I discovered was that depending whether the room is south facing or north facing, the paint colour looks different. So in a south facing room, it looks warmer, and in a north facing room, which is at the front of our house, the colours look cooler. So yeah, this is quite a cool toned shade in a warm toned room. So it kind of cancels itself out and balances it. I absolutely love this colour. It's why we went for it in the kitchen as well, because it's not too yellow. I really didn't want yellow vibes. We did actually have this room painted in a completely different colour and changed it for this one because this is just the perfect shade. It's so nice and neutral. But yeah, we want to add a little something to this wall. The style of paneling that we're going to go for is called shaker style paneling. I'll put a picture of it on screen. It's basically going to look hopefully exactly like this, with a dado rail along the top and then some artwork above it. We're not sure which colour we want to go for yet. We're going to do some testers. We are going to paint the paneling and underneath. We're going to go about 3/4 of the way up, I think, maybe 2/3. Whatever looks best. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not sure what I'm doing. I'm here with a tape measure, a YouTube tutorial, and a whole lot of hope. In front of me down here, I've got a little basket of essentials. I just picked this up in the garage. This basket was in the garage and I've put all the essentials in it, so it looks a lot cuter by accident. I've got the tape measure. We're going to measure the wall first of all together. And then in here I've got, luckily I labelled everything really well in the garage. So we've got all our paint samples that we've used around the house. Some sandpaper. Is that sandpaper? You know what I mean. A little sanding block, some decorators caulk, and 2 different types of filler. I'm going to see what the YouTube tutorials say about this. But yeah, first things first, we need to get measuring. I did find a website this morning where you can put your measurements in and you can kind of like see the plan. Keep your fingers crossed for me, because I've been telling myself this is going to be a really easy process. If it turns out to actually be difficult, I'm going to be gutted. Right, we need to measure, yeah, from your side to my side. 303 centimetres. 212. Thanks, Joshy.
Is it?
Yep, that's it. This website is called Roomix. I've not tested it or anything yet. So the wall width was 303 and the wall height was 212. That's what it looks like, a 3/4. I think that's too high though. I think we need to do 2/3.
Have you got a picture of it?
That's not an option on this website.
Oh, there's not much room at the top.
No, not for the canvases. That's what I thought. 303 divided by 3.
Did you use a calculator?
Times 2. 202. I think we want it about 202. Let's see where that is and I'll mark it with a pencil. Wait, no, I've done the wrong measurement already. Hang on. 141. It's there.
Yeah, I'd say that's about right.
Yeah, I'd say about there. Yeah, I think that's perfect there.
You wouldn't want it any higher.
What did I say? 141. 141 centimetres high. It's not a DIY project until you're sketching on the back of an envelope with a pencil. I need to figure out the width of the dado rail and the width of each panel, and then figure out the distance between each one. And we want it 141 centimetres high. So that's 2/3 of the way up. And then there'll be a dado rail. So that is 2.2 centimetres. The MDF strips are going to be cut into 9mm. Just changed my mind, I actually think 10cm. Okay, so there's going to be one underneath, 10cm, and one at the bottom. Can you see what I'm doing here? Might be a bit confusing, because I think I'm going to have to turn this clip upside down. That one's 10cm, one at the edge. So I've got 6 panels going across, so I've got 60cm in total. The whole thing is 303 minus 60cm, so that leaves 243. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gaps. Divided by 5, each gap needs to be 48.6cm. Wow, have I just done that right? That quick? Surely not. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly there. So each one is 48.6. 141 minus 2.2 for the dado rail, minus 10cm for there and 10cm for the bottom. So minus 20, 118.8 I think each one needs to be. I mean, it looks a little bit confusing, but I'm just going to take these to B&Q with me with my pencil. Let's go and buy the supplies. Off I went to B&Q, and I had seen online that you can buy the MDF strips in kits like these ones, but I decided to go for the MDF board. 1, because it was cheaper, but 2, because then I could get the exact measurements cut. This is the guy cutting the MDF board for me, and I basically just gave him my envelopes and said, this is what I need. You actually get your first 5 cuts free, and then it's 50p per cut. So it's not expensive to get the board cut. After I picked up my other supplies, I had to have a little look in the homeware section, and this fake olive tree stumbled onto my trolley. Day 2 of panelling commences. I've got all my supplies down here. I've bought no more nails, some frog tape. I've got, this is all the paint samples, I think I've showed you that. My tape measure, masking tape, obviously the panels themselves that I had cut yesterday at B&Q. Some decorators caulk. Literally, I think everything I need is in this shot right here. It's very hot today, so I've picked a right good day to do decorating and sweating and moving of things around. But the first thing I'm going to do is move the bedside tables forward. I might need Josh's help with this, we'll see. He's working right now, he's working from home, so he is here if I need help. But I'm an independent girl boss queen. I reckon I can do it. Got to make sure my Jellycat Hippo stays safe. He's going in my office. We never got round to putting handles on these bedside tables. We've got the handles, we've just never put them on. But I actually quite like without the handles, and they're not difficult to open. We just got used to opening them from the side. Oh, this needs a dust down here. I'll tell you that for free. I've just remembered there's stuff under the bed. I think I need to empty this to move the bed. Is this panelling actually worth it? I really need to sell some of these jackets. I didn't even know they were in here. This weighted blanket alone was probably holding the bed back. I don't know what you mean. This is exactly the productive office space I was thinking of when I bought this house and made this office. Perfect if you ask me. 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, the bed is out. I've hoovered the skirting boards. Do you know what I think I might have to do though, is grab a towel and just wipe down the wall. I don't really want to do it with a damp cloth because otherwise maybe the no more nails won't stick as well. Well, it is very hot today, so maybe it would dry quickly. Okay, let's do that. I feel like I need to get the dust off the wall before I do anything else. Quick little once over to remove any dust. I've got 2 different lengths from B&Q, so I need to double check that the shorter lengths are the horizontal and the longer lengths are vertical, otherwise we could end up with an absolute disaster. Imagine if this was the point where we discovered they don't fit. Look at that, like a little bit of a baggy glove. Starting off, 1 panel goes either end, so that one's pretty simple. And then I have 4 panels to go between them, so I'm gonna guess, mark this one about there, maybe there. Okay, that's not right. So the distance I wrote down between each one, 48.6. So that's what I'm gonna measure from the first line that I've just drawn, the first pencil line. Realised I should probably use a spirit level for this, otherwise they are gonna be wonky McGee. Every time I put my pencil down, drives me momentarily insane. The thing is anyone going to notice if they're like a millimetre out? I'm trying to film a TikTok at the same time, by the way, so apologies for my camera just floating around there on my phone. I genuinely haven't done this much maths since GCSE. I don't even remember what I got in maths. I think it was a B. Well, look at me now. Miss Pemberton, if you're watching, I hope you are proud. I'm not joking, I've just felt a droplet of sweat drip down my back. I don't know if it's the heat or the nerves, to be honest. Then this gap between these final 2 should be 48.6. Keep your fingers crossed. we're gonna just ignore that. 47.5. How did that happen then? Never mind. Who's gonna notice that? It's 1 centimetre. I think they look very even, if you ask me. So the next thing I'm gonna do is put a dust sheet down here and use some No More Nails to stick this bottom row all along the bottom before I start the upright ones. Here's my No More Nails. I bought the squeezy one because then I have actually got one of those guns that you can use in the garage. Oh, I've got to cut the top off. I just thought a squeezy one would be easier for this. Not me trying to cut this with literally the pair of scissors I've had since I was about 6 years old. Top tip, my father-in-law, who is a builder who did our entire house pretty much, he told me if you're sticking something like panelling on the wall, the best technique is actually to do it in circles if you never want it to come off, which is what we've done in the downstairs toilet. I'll put a picture of our panelling on screen here, because basically if you do a complete circle, when it presses against the wall, it creates like a suction cup, so it's really hard to get it off. However, for this one today, just in case we ever decide to change the bedroom around, I'm going to go for the old swirly technique. Oh, it's well harder to press than I thought it was going to be. That is so hard to squeeze out. Maybe I'll do that. Oh my god, it's made a little bow. Cute. It's a lot easier to put all my body weight on it. Squeeze it out in one go and then scrape it. I don't know if that's enough or way too much, but that's what we're going with. Wait, do I need a spirit level for this bit? You stay there, because I guess if this is wonky, the whole thing's going to be wonky, isn't it? Because the skirting board isn't exactly straight. Really squish it on there. My camera battery is actually low already, so I'm going to do these next 2 horizontal ones, exactly the same as what you just saw. Put this on charge while I do that, and then I'll come back to you, because this bit is not the exciting bit anyway. The only small problem I've encountered, right, is that the walls aren't straight. So I've put this bottom row on, but as you can see, at this end, it actually doesn't touch the wall, and if I press it in, it pops out here. So I think I'm just going to have to see what I can do. Cross that bridge when I come to it, but when I put this panel on top, I think I'm just going to have to kind of like fill it with filler maybe. Not really sure, but anyway, I'm going to start on the upright panels now. I'm going to start this end and make my way to this end and leave the tricky bit till last. When it came to the No More Nails, I'm not going to lie, the squeezy tube was actually really difficult. I think it would have been easier to get the version that goes in a caulking gun, and I underestimated how much I needed as well. I got through 3 tubes of that, so bear that in mind if you're planning on panelling. You need a lot of glue. Okay, it's taken me a little while. I'd say about 40 minutes. I mean, I haven't timed it. 35 to 40 minutes, but I've now stuck on all the upright boards, panels, what are they even called? MDF strips. The next thing I need to do is add the horizontal one and hope that all of these are level and straight so that there's not like a wonk or a gap, do you know what I mean? I've tried my best with the spirit level. It's definitely not perfect, but if I do say so myself, it's pretty close. The only bit I'm not going to be able to get right is this corner down here, because the wall just in the corner is so out. You can see there's like a little gap down there, but nothing a bit of filler can't fix. And I mean, who's going to see that anyway? Once the bedside table's in front of it, that is, if any part is going to go wrong, I'm glad it's that part. So far, it's a bit more long-winded than I thought it was going to be, but it's still been really easy. Okay, so this should sit on here. Perfect. Oh my gosh, I'm so relieved. Okay, let me test the other 2. They're just balanced for now. Obviously, I'm going to glue them. That one should be all good. Last one. It is a bit short. It's not ideal, but I'll fix it. Nothing screams a girl doing DIY more than play Sabrina Carpenter while I be an actual carpenter. I've just put a bit of polyfilla in this corner, so once I sand that down, you won't even be able to tell that it was like that tiny bit too short. So the next thing I'm going to do is put the polyfilla on the gaps, and then after that, dado rail time. I've got a dado rail to go on the top of this, just so it like finishes it off more nicely really, rather than just being a dust collecting top edge. I found a couple of types of filler in the garage, but I'm going to use this one, polyfilla. I've done a couple, as you can see, but the key is to not put too much of this on. But my dad always says, obviously, like, I'll sand it off after. If you can feel it, you'll be able to see it after you've painted it. So I'm going to put all the filler on, let it dry, and then get sand in. Once you put the filler on, you can literally just use like an old credit card or something to scrape the filler flat and get rid of the excess. So I've got 2 lengths of the dado rail, because obviously one length isn't long enough. To be fair, it's not that far off. But what I'm going to do is stick the first one up, measure the gap that's left, and then cut up the other one. Once I'd stuck the dado rail to the wall, I used some strong masking tape to kind of force it downwards, just to make sure there was no gap between the dado rail and the MDF strip. 62.5 or 6. Let's get chopping. I should probably do this in the garage, but never mind. This is what I've found. My dad put together a toolbox for me when we moved in ages ago, like loads of his old tools. This is the most sore looking thing that I found, so I'm just going to use this. Don't try this at home, kids. It's so close. I've done it. You ready for the moment of truth?
Is it going to fit?
It's a little bit short, but I can fill it in with filler, that's alright. It's like ever so slightly bit too short. Again, nothing filler can't fix. Sanding the filler down took forever. I don't know if it was my sandpaper was a bit naff or whatever, but it took way longer than I thought it would. It's now 9:37 p.m. I finally finished sanding. No, I'm joking. It didn't take me that long to sand. It did take me quite a long time though. Probably a good hour to sand down the filler. That piece of advice my dad gave me, if you can feel it, you'll see it. Blessing and a curse, because it made me so paranoid. I've been like running my hand over it. I think they feel as smooth as I can get them, all the joins. The next thing about me that you may or may not have known, that if I don't know how to do something, I'm going to Google it and I'm going to try it anyway. So the next thing I'm going to do is caulk. I'm only going to test this today. I doubt I'm going to get all 5 squares caulked, the inner corners. And caulking is basically to fill in the gap. Anyway, this is a caulking gun. I found this in the garage. That is the handy thing about having done a renovation, is there is so much stuff in my garage that I never knew the need for until now. So that goes in there. This looks like a scary contraption, but I don't think it actually is. Not yet anyway. I think I'm locked and loaded and ready to go. Guess we'll find out together if I've loaded this up right. I'm actually going to start on this middle panel, which I know seems a bit random, but this is the one behind the bed, so this is quite a good practice place. So you literally just keep it fairly even, I think, and caulk it like so, and it fills in the gap. Wow, that is really satisfying. And then you're supposed to wet your finger, I'll just lick mine for now, run it along, and it makes it even. Who knew I would be a caulking master? This is going to take me no time at all. Famous last words, I bet. This is so hard to show you because I'm now behind the bed, it's pitch black outside, and I've just got the light on. What I've learned is a lot of this is very similar to icing a cake. I've got a bowl of water now instead of just using my own spit. Why did I think the caulking was going to be the most difficult bit? If anything, I think that's been the easiest bit so far. I'm obsessed with caulking. I want to start a caulking business. That is so fun. I am well impressed with myself, I'm not even going to lie. I do need to get a move on though, because we do watch Love Island at 10 o'clock. You do have to try and make sure you're pushing out the caulk fairly even all the way down, but it's not too difficult to be honest, especially once you've run your finger along, it all evens out. It's 20 to 11, I'm absolutely sweating, but I'm done for the day. I have filled everywhere, I've caulked everywhere. I didn't think I was going to get that done. I think I said I'll just try out 1 square, but that is my personality to a T. Once I start a task like that, I can't not finish it. I get a bit obsessive. I've just done the last of the caulking along the top of the dado rail. I've also wiped it all down with a damp cloth. I've hoovered because there was some dust down here from where I'd sanded and stuff. I wanted to get it all done so that tomorrow, well, first thing I've actually got an eye test, and then when I come back I want to get straight on with the MDF primer. The next morning I used my sanding block and I sanded down every strip just to give the primer something to grip to so it wasn't quite so smooth. I've not spoken to you yet today because I've got the aircon unit running because it's 30 degrees today. So Sunny sat on our bed with her cool vest on, aircon unit, so it's a bit loud in here, but I'm just about to finally paint the MDF primer onto the panels and I'm so excited. It does scare me a little bit having this open tin of paint over our carpet though. I used a little paintbrush to paint the dado rail and cutting in for the MDF strips. Then I just used a small roller on the flat sections of the MDF. Welcome to the final day of DIY. Sorry about the curtain. This needs to be the final day because I'm done with it now, I'll be perfectly honest. I'm going to paint the wall, I'm going to make the artwork for up the top. I do need to go to Wickes at some point and get another tin of paint, I think. We're putting fresh bedding on, we're putting everything back. I'm clearing out the office finally because I haven't been able to get in there for the past 3 days. It's actually very inconvenient. And behind me, you can see my little sample patch. There's a story about this. So last night I laid out all the samples. I thought perfect. We had about 6 samples of neutral colours, I'd say. Every single one had dried up. Completely forgot that that was a thing. So what we did have in the garage was half a tin of Egyptian cotton. To be honest with you, I was pretty sure it was going to be Egyptian cotton anyway. So I whacked a bit of that on the wall to see what it looks like in the different lights. Luckily, we're happy with the Egyptian cotton, so we're just going to go with that. We're not going to try more samples. Day 3 /4 actually. I started this Tuesday and it's now Friday. And honestly, you could put bright pink up there and I wouldn't care. So we're going with Egyptian cotton. Apologies there was no fun samples to test out with you. Also it's 30 degrees today, so that's why I have no makeup on. Although I did have a new lip tint arrive this morning, and obviously I'm impulsive, so I had to try out the lip tint, and now I look a bit scary because that is all I've got on. This is what it looks like on the tin, and this is what it looks like on the wall. It does make the headboard look a little bit grey, I'll be honest, but do you know what? Neutrals, greys, beiges, everything in that kind of category goes. Finally onto the exciting bit. We only had about 1/4 of this tin left of Egyptian cotton, but to be fair, this was all we needed. I did buy a second tin, but I didn't end up using it, so I'm going to return that. Same as the primer, I started with the paintbrush and did all the cutting in first of all, then the small roller on the strips first, and then the back walls. After the first coat, that was when I realised it would only need 2 coats, which was great because I wasn't sure if it was going to be 3. Anyway, I popped to the range because I wanted to get a few little decor bits for our bedside tables. I didn't really know what I wanted, to be honest, but I thought the range will tell me what I need. And they have so much good stuff in right now, so many neutrals. I literally could have picked up pretty much any of this and whacked it on the bedside table and it would have looked great. However, I knew I did want to put a little photo of me and Josh on my bedside table, and the range is definitely the place to go if you're looking for a photo frame. So now that the second coat of paint is finally finished on the panelling, oh, that was a longer job than I thought it was going to be, but I'm going to make the artwork to go above our bed. So we've got 2, I'd say canvases, but they're like flat canvases, and we both chose a song lyric from one of our favourite songs each. We've got one for me, one for Josh. We're going to put them above the bed. They're both to do with kind of like love. Everyone say And I'm basically going to do it in the same style that I did my office print in, which I get quite a lot of questions about on Instagram even now. I just made it myself, so I'm going to show you exactly how I made it. I think the key thing is to use the same paint that is on the wall, so it kind of like blends in with the wall a little bit. It's like 25-6, but I think these are still going to dry today. And then we can put them on the wall, put the new bedding on, and I can't believe this room is nearly finally finished. Anyway, yuck. Let's get crafting. I got the little wooden letters from the Works. They were £4 per pack. I've got 2 packs. I'm hoping that's going to be enough. Josh's lyric is, "You could have my heart or we could share it like the last slice." What song is that from?
Best I ever had.
Best I Ever Had by Drake. So I'm going to lay the letters out of the positioning that I want them in before I draw out the lines and stick them onto the canvas. The longest part of this process is definitely measuring out where every letter needs to go. I decided to do the first letter of each line so I could do the spacing between each line first, and then I could also use the letter above to make sure every letter was in line with each other. So for example, not only the Y, the H and the H are in line, but also the O, the A and the E. Does that make sense? I would definitely recommend penciling out the lines first though to make sure everything is even. Sorry if you can hear the dishwasher. We've just had dinner and put the dishwasher on, but I've just finished sticking all the letters on. This is Josh's lyric. I'm now going to paint it. So the paint that I'm using is Sail White from Crown. This is the paint that we have at the top of our panelling and all around the rest of our bedroom. So I'm going to paint it on. I'm going to make sure I get in every little nook and cranny of every letter, and then I'm going to use one of these. I just bought these in the range today. They say Wilco on them though for some reason. They were literally like £1 something, little scourer sponges. And I'm basically just going to dab it after I've painted it so it's got like a bit of a speckled effect. I really like that these ones are flat instead of like a 3D canvas because I can just stick it on the wall with command strips, like Velcro ones. Getting there, I've done mine as well. This is my one. I haven't rubbed out the pencil lines yet. It's an Adele lyric. It says, "Everybody wants something from me, you just want me." It's from a song called I Drink Wine, which is my favourite song ever. You don't have to be neat with this paint at all, especially if you're going for the speckled effect like I was. I literally just whacked it on there. I used a big brush to slather it on, a smaller brush to get in every little gap, and then a sponge to dab it. Then I finally started the bedroom back together, but it started with a bit of a bang. Instead of me showing you literally making the bed, the next clip is going to look a whole lot more fancy, fingers crossed, than this one. Ta-da! A made bed, complete with a little puppy. The only thing left to do now is put the artwork above the panelling up here, but other than that it's done. Although I'm not gonna lie, what's the time? 9:15, so it's getting dark, so I'm gonna show you properly in the morning and go through all the details, but I love it. I think we don't want them too close together but not really far apart either. That there, like that distance between each other.
Yeah.
Does that look about equal from there and there?
And then use the spirit level as a ruler to make sure they're level with each other.
There?
Yep.
Imagine I just fell on us while we were asleep.
Gotta hope they stick.
Hopefully the hot weather doesn't affect the stickiness.
Shouldn't
They're
be.
not heavy though.
No, exactly. I would poo my pants though.
So would I. Day 64. And the bedroom is complete. We put the canvases up this morning. I love that you can't really see the quotes unless you're looking for it. That's kind of what I liked. I really like the fact that it's subtle artwork, but it's personal to us as well. So this is the final result. I am so happy with it. I can't believe I've actually done this panelling myself, I'm not gonna lie, and it actually looks this good. I did have slight reservations, but I'm a perfectionist, so I know anything like this, I'm always gonna try my very best. Anyway, this is the new bedding. So all of this is from Amazon. This bedspread, bed throw, whatever it's called. I really like one of these over the end of the bed. One, because Sunny's muddy paws, when she jumps up, this corner always gets the most grubby. So at least I can just throw this in the wash now instead. But yeah, that was from Amazon, but the brand was Silent Night, and it's one of their super soft throws. It does feel lovely. And then the actual duvet cover, I always buy a cover that doesn't look like it's creased, because I never iron bedding, because I just haven't got time for that. So anything that's like a bit textured, I really wanted to go for multiple textures in this room to make it feel really cozy, a little bit like country style, but just to give it some depth as well. So we've got the textured bedding and then 3 different textures for the cushion covers. Again, these are all from Amazon. I do normally buy them from Shein, but I just left it a bit too late. They wouldn't arrive in time. So yeah, everything's Amazon. We've got this kind of like linen style at the back. Then this, like, is it called Borg? I think that's it. These cream ones. And then again, another like tweed style cushion at the front. I'll link all of the bedding in the description down below. I'm sure someone will ask where our bedside tables are from. So they're from IKEA, but it is so hard to find a wide bedside table that doesn't cost the earth. So these are actually kids' chests of drawers. Again, I'll link the exact ones we've got in the description down below. You are supposed to add handles to them, but we just haven't. And to be honest, we've got used to opening them from the side now. I think I might have mentioned that in this video actually. So I think we're going to leave them handleless. Obviously you saw me get all the panelling strips cut at B&Q. And then on our bedside tables, these lamps, I'm sure they were from the range. We've had them since we moved in. This photo frame and the little heart ornament are the bits that I picked up from the range as well. An acrylic tissue box just makes tissue boxes look so much nicer. You can see it in there. Another Amazon job. Maybe I'll make a bedroom Amazon list so you can shop everything. The canvases were also from Amazon, and like I mentioned, the letters were from The Works. And then over this side, we've got the fake olive tree that I got in B&Q. I actually love it. I'm so glad I stumbled across that, because I knew I wanted some kind of greenery in this corner, just because when you walk in the room, that's kind of like the first corner you see. It just needed something to fill that gap, and I love the size of it. Perfect. Oh, and also our coasters. I got these in the range, just these little beige round coasters as well. That, I think, is everything, but I just feel like it looks so different compared to the beginning of this video. I'll put a little clip in here to refresh your memory, but I can't believe the difference it's made. It's one of those jobs that I always knew I wanted to do, but getting around to do it, it just felt like there was never going to be time. But if you have any more questions for me, let me know in the comments down below. I'm super happy with my work. Although, do you think this wall needs anything behind me? I feel like it might need maybe like 3 big photo frames. I'm not sure though. Let me know, what would you do with this wall, if anything? It actually doesn't look as plain as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to look really boring, like in the viewfinder, this wall behind me, but actually it's not a huge wall. Do you think it's all right without anything? Should I add something? Let a girlie know. But thank you very much for joining me on this DIY journey. This is definitely not where the house renovations stop, because we have still got the garage to do. We've still got quite a few bits to do actually in this house, to be fair. I feel like when you own a house, there is always a renovation to be done. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. If you made it this far into the video, well done, because it's a long one. I had 3.5 hours of footage from this week. So if you made it to this point, please leave this emoji in the comments down below. And this week, you honestly do deserve a medal for getting to the end. Do subscribe to see my future videos. Stick around, join the fam. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely week next week, and I'll see you again next Sunday with another little video. Bye guys, love you.